When the global policeman retires from the job, there's a vacuum,
Hmm.
and local powers are um, all too willing to seize the opportunity to take advantage of the moment when there is simply no cop on the beat whatsoever. This is one of these moments.
Welcome to the Friday Focus podcast for the 9th of May. I'm Rudyard Griffiths, chair of the Monk Debates. I'm joined by Janice Gross-Stein, the founding director of the Monk School of Global Affairs, coming to us from merry old England.
Yes, in London, Rudyard, to talk defense.
Excellent. Well, we're going to have to spend a bit of time on that on the show, but let me begin by thanking a number of donors who've come on to support the Monk Debates and its efforts to bring civility and substance to the public square. It's a work of a lifetime, but a big thank you to Evan S. for becoming a curator and a whole bunch of supporters this week, Janice. Sam D., S. Lee, Browen E., James M., Deborah M., Carlos J., and Wesley F. Thank you all for your generous support. Janice, we have to start the show with the seemingly fast developing and risky situation that's unfolding along the line of control between India and Pakistan. Earlier in the week, this was focused on Kashmir, the long disputed territory between the two groups that was partitioned by the war of partition between India and Pakistan, but now it is spread to the entire shared border of these two Asian nations, with seemingly reports of strikes now ongoing inside both countries, well away from what are, again, the typical places where Indian and Pakistani troops have occasionally, over the last decade or so, exchanged artillery fire and had other kind of, less severe fisticuffs. What do you make of this, Janice? This seems to have come out of nowhere, and it seems to be accelerating fast.
It is a very dangerous situation, Rudyard. There have been incidents between India and Pakistan before, as recently as 2016, 2019. But this is, frankly, worse. Why is that? First of all, there is no active Secretary of State from Washington getting on the phone and talking these two nuclear powered countries down as they have. And that's a big one. Secondly, both India and Pakistan have changed since 2019. Pakistan, the military has become increasingly unpopular since they dismissed the prime minister before this one, Imran Khan, and jailed him. There is a new Chief of Defense Staff Munir, and many speculate that he sees this as a way to improve the standing of the military in Pakistan. Tough for him to back down. Modi um, has, of course, run on a Hindu nationalist platform. When they last um, came to minor blows, India's economy was 5 times the size of Pakistan's. Now it's 10. Hard for Modi as well to back down. Probably if you talk to both of them, they would like an off ramp, but there's no ladder in sight, Richard.
Mm-hmm. What we're also seeing, I think, that is concerning is that those past conflicts or border episodes often dealt with, artillery duels and other kind of static conflict related to, specific incidences at specific places. We're now hearing about the use of drones, fighter jets, ballistic missiles. India seems to have struck deeper into Pakistan, Lahore, and other parts of the Punjab, which is, after all, the kind of stomping ground, the home ground of the Pakistani military. It's ethnically where their elites come from. Why the escalation here? Obviously, there was an initial terrorist attack that occurred in Kashmir, tragically killing 24 or so tourists. But the Indian response, the initial foray, and now seemingly overnight last night, a counterattack by Pakistan, again using drones and ballistic missiles, seems to suggest that both protagonists are ramping this up from what, might in the past have been, yes, dealt with in some way, but surely, Janice, not on the scale and the intensity that we've seen over the last 72 hours.
I think that's exactly right, Rudyard. Why are they doing it? Partly because the kind of military technology we have now, they can't, right? You can send drones over the border and terrorize the civilian population. We've seen a proliferation of missiles. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this, Rudyard, and that's frankly worrying. What's especially dangerous here is that both these powers are nuclear powers. And, we talked last week, there is no record of nuclear powers going up the ladder past a certain point because it's just too dangerous. This has been a very rapid period of escalation, way beyond the direct conflict zone, as you rightly said. The last time this happened, Rudyard, in 2019, Pakistan made claims that India had lost 5 jet fighters. India didn't challenge the claim. It apparently was not true. One of the things that I'm watching for, um, how which one of them is going to allow one of these claims to go unchallenged. In other words, they have to find a way, each of them, to allow each one of them to claim a win that they have defended, either in the Pakistani case, as Munir said, Pakistan was born as the Muslim homeland out of India. That's a strong message. And Modi echoes the same kind of sentiments on behalf of the Hindu majority. Kashmir has been a flashpoint ever since 1947. It never goes away, and it can always arouse the passions between these two countries.
In the last 24 hours, J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, has come out and basically said that the U.S. administration is not intervening and that it's
Yeah.
up to these two powers to kind of effectively sort out their differences together. What do you make of that? Why is the United States being seemingly so purposely hands off here? Is this, I don't know, if you want to try to imply some reason to this or intent, is it because of a desire to, I don't know, support India, possibly to pull India out of Russia's orbit? Much of India's military equipment is Russian made. There's been a long, obviously, history between India and Soviet Russia. Is there something afoot here where the Americans feel that the Indians, as the larger power, as you said, economically, also militarily, though, have the upper hand in this conflict, and America is, in a sense, without obviously putting its hand on the scales by not intervening, they're effectively supporting India?
Roger, I wish there was that much strategic calculation in Washington, frankly. I I doubt that that's a fact, although India has moved over the last several years much closer to the United States. Um, that having been said, J.D. Vance, in the administration right now, there is almost an internal war going on between three groups of people that surround Donald Trump. They're the old interventionists who believe that the United States should get on the phone, that the United States has global responsibilities, it's a global power. There are, in effect, the America firsters, and this is just not a very direct. Um, these are the ones who believe China is the issue. Let's not get distracted by conflict all over the world. The United States has one strategic priority, that's China. And that's in a way the Peter Navarros and people like that. And then there are those who are frankly isolationists. We are not the world's policemen. We are not going to solve the world's problems. Well, what we're seeing is what happens when the United States is MIA, missing in action. The British, I am in London right now, and the British did get on the phone. They are the old imperial power in this part of the world, to try to talk down these two governments. Obviously, very limited success. Rudyard and the Russians have no interest in doing it, frankly.
Just finally, in this section, before we say goodbye to our complimentary listeners and viewers and join our donors on the other side of a short break, we're now seeing, Janice, a situation where the government of Benjamin Netanyahu has issued a large-scale troop call-up for a major operation occupation of Gaza. We have really no substantive progress on ending the war in Ukraine. We now have what seems to be the beginnings of, a war on the subcontinent between Pakistan and India. Why is this all happening now? I know that's a very broad question, but it seems it can't just be coincidence that suddenly, with the election of Trump last November, we're now seeing previous conflicts re-intensify or fail to resolve, and now new conflict, a new important conflict, emerging.
Well, the first reason, Rudyard, these are tough conflicts to resolve. The India-Pakistan one, the Israel-Palestine one, we've just said they've been around for 75 years, and it depends when you want to start the historical calendar rolling. They're tough. They are deeply embedded. So Donald Trump's facile comments, frankly, oh, we're going to get a ceasefire in Ukraine within 24 hours of my becoming president. We're going to ceasefire in Gaza. They did. It lasted 6 weeks. And that's it. It is much harder. That's why we have experienced professional diplomats who do this kind of heavy lifting. He has almost nothing to show for this. But your bigger point, I think, is also important. It isn't just a coincidence. When the global policeman retires from the job, there's a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And local powers are all too willing to seize the opportunity to take advantage of the moment when there is simply no cop on the beat whatsoever. This is one of these moments.
Sure feels like it. Well, let's take a quick break. We're going to say goodbye to our complimentary listeners and viewers. If you want to enjoy the back half of Friday Focus, please become a donor. You can do that for as little as $25 a year, 50 cents a week. We will send you a link immediately to listen to the back half of the show on your favorite podcast app, and you'll receive emails in the subsequent weeks where you can get the full-length video versions of each and every episode of Friday Focus. So appreciate that support, and I'll say bye-bye and then hello to our donors and subscribers.